Good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. I'm home in New York. I'm back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Anyway, how you guys doing? Welcome to Touch Base Daily. Today, we are going to be talking about the final day of the DNC 2024 convention. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Usually we do our Focus Friday, where we focus on accounts that bless, encourage, and inspire. But we still focusing on something that's blessing and encouraging and inspire by focusing on the DNC 2024 convention. And it was
an experience.
It was an experience. This was some
the
week.
Whole week.
This was some freaking week.
Yeah, man. I've watched many of conventions, and I have to say I've never seen anything like this before.
Nothing
it felt
like it.
like a concert. It felt like a family cookout. It felt like a reunion. I mean, it just had all the feels. Like every note was hit, like just perfectly executed. I mean, from the speakers, to just the feeling in the hall in the convention center. It was amazing. And I'm speechless. I really am speechless. It was just that good.
Man, I really believe we're going to have our first woman president.
Yes.
I really believe it.
Yes.
And let's see who's in the audience today. In the community, I should say. First person in the building is Let's Go from Mr. Brian.
Come on, Brian.
He gets the gold for the day, and Anthony gets the silver for today. And he says, "Good morning, family." And Rashawn says, "Good morning and happy Friday, RLP fam." She gets the bronze. Woo! These are the top threes. They were in this morning. And then we have the marvelous. Anthony says, "Fired Up Friday."
There you go.
And we have the great and marvelous and wonderful Lisa. She says, "Good morning." We have Aya. She's in the building. Hold on a second. Let me get this. There we go. Aya is in the building. She says, "Grand Rising, everyone." RLP and Ron. And Rashawn says, "Good morning." And Elise says, "Good morning." I seen your invitation, Elise, so come on when you're ready. And she says, "Good morning to everyone." And who else is in the building? Mimi Hinton is in the building. I love me some Mimi. Mimi takes a stand. When something goes awry, she takes a stand. Anyway, she says good morning, and Jazzy is in the building. How you doing, Jazzy? Good morning, everyone. Who else? Chrissy is in the building. She says, Chrissy's Corner says, "Good morning. Happy Friday." And Lisa says, "We are focusing on how Kamala knocked it down last night." Yes, she did. Oh, I agree. Lisa says the producers should get an Emmy.
Yeah, that whole week was an Emmy-winning performance of the timing. So here's the thing: they got a little criticism on Monday night for the timing being off late. And Biden coming on really, really late. I think they took that criticism to heart and they tightened up that ship from Tuesday to Thursday. It was just like boom, 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 boom. People kept it moving. It just flowed, and it was just so good.
Yes, I agree. I think it's the best. It's the best convention I've ever seen. Yeah. Bryson says, "What's up, Ron? What's up, Chris? What's up, RLP fam? What's up, CQ fam?" Freshing off from DNC Convention Night 4. Kerry Washington was hosting. The chicks were performing, and Pink and Beyonce weren't here. No, Pink was there.
No, Pink was there.
Beyonce wasn't there. Yeah. And some people thought Beyonce was going to be there. There was rumors that
a lot of people. Well,
yes.
I mean, TMZ reported that she was confirmed. So did Don Lemon. Confirmed that she was going to be there. So but here's my take. Here's my take on that. Not that Beyonce probably said no, but I think that they're waiting for her to be at the inauguration.
Ooh.
that's a big capstone right there. Like, we have
Yeah.
all acts. Let's keep Beyonce for the inauguration because we know that's coming in
That's a
January 2025.
possibility. That's a possibility.
That's my prediction.
Jazzy says it was truly amazing. And Lisa, see here, Lisa Bryson, Mimi says, you better know it. You better know it. She holds it down in this community. Bryson says, what's up, Anthony? Got that. Hey, Chris R is in the building. Good morning, she says. Good morning, Chris.
Let me apologize now for the yawning. I'm extremely tired. I worked last night and then I had to get up early again this morning to go to the airport. So
he had a long night, y'all. He
it's
had
been
a
a long day
long
yesterday.
night. We got the on fumes, Chris.
Yeah.
Adrian, New York City. Good morning, everyone. Trying to listen while working. You always are listening while working. We love you. We love you, Adrian. And let's see here. Yeah, Chrissy says Pink performed. I loved it. I was wondering, was that her daughter?
That was her daughter.
That was her daughter, right?
Yeah, that was her daughter sitting next to her singing. Yeah.
I was like, is that her daughter? She looks a lot like her. He sang and the beautiful song. I love that song. Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs by her. I agree, Chris. The inauguration will be a better stage for Beyonce. And you know what? I also felt they got the soundtrack. They don't need Beyonce. And I think it would have
taken away a little bit.
You didn't want to upscale over Kamala.
Yeah.
So I think they had to keep it, even though they wanted to.
Yeah.
Beyonce is such a powerhouse that she would have been the headlines today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had I don't think, inauguration. Jazzy says, I'm glad Beyonce wasn't there. I like her, but the moment was, and here we go, and needed to be Kamala. So there we go. Thank you, Jazzy.
You know what I loved last night when Kerry Washington brought her Kamala's two nieces out, and they did the pronunciation. They had the audience participation on either side to say her name. It was actually really good. Like, everything was just so well thought out and intentional.
And everything was intentional. Everything was with intent. Brian says, actually, I was hoping for George Bush. George W. Bush at some point. That would have been good. That would have been good. But you know what? Adam Zinger did a great job in sharing the Republican point of view, and saying also, if you are Republican, you are not you need to stand, you need to go above party and be and think about your country. Think about your country, not your party. Your party is secondary. We are in it to win for the country.
Yeah.
And he gave the invitation to other fellow Republicans to vote for Harris.
I want to actually go back because I was working last night. I didn't see the convention live. I got on my phone a little bit just to see a few things here and there. But this morning, about a half an hour before I got on here, I made sure that I watched. Ronald and I sat down. We watched her entire acceptance speech, which was amazing. I'm going to go back though and watch all of the fourth night later today.
Elise says, Brian, he is somewhere painting, talking about George Bush. So before we go, I want to share this footage, and then we're gonna bring our folks on our panel discussion. We're gonna have a good time. Today we are talking about the DNC Convention 2024 final day takeaways, and you can't go anywhere. We can't start this conversation without sharing Kamala Harris. This footage is from CNN, and we're going to share it from CNN. Okay, let's see here. If you are in the Instagram page, you Instagram folks, y'all need to come on over to the YouTube channel. Come on over, baby. Come on over. You'll get a better experience if you're in the YouTube experience. Just go on to Touch Base Daily or just put in Ron Lewis Photos, and you will be on the YouTube channel. So here we go. I'm going to share this. I think I can, hold on a second. Let me make sure this is added right. I guess I did this correctly, because in order for you to hear the sound, I have to put it up, present a certain way. Okay, here we go. We're going to present this to you guys. Here we go. Take away. There we go. Here we go. And are y'all ready? Are y'all ready?
I've only had one client, the people. And so, on behalf of the people, on behalf of every American, regardless of party, race, gender, or the language your grandmother speaks, on behalf of my mother and everyone who has ever set out on their own unlikely journey, on behalf of Americans like the people I grew up with, people who work hard, chase their dreams, and look out for one another, on behalf of everyone whose story could only be written in the greatest nation on earth, I accept your nomination to be President of the United States of America. And with this election, our nation with this election has a precious, fleeting opportunity to move past the bitterness, cynicism, and divisive battles of the past, a chance to chart a new way forward. Not as members of any one party or faction, but as Americans. And let me say, I know there are people of various political views watching tonight, and I want you to know, I promise to be a president for all Americans. You can always trust me to put country above party and self, to hold sacred America's fundamental principles, from the rule of law to free and fair elections to the peaceful transfer of power.
Donald Trump giving his
That was
the acceptance speech from Vice President.
There were two things I took away from that, and I'm just going to be very transparent. I'm like, when I first saw that after she's accepted the nomination, I got really emotional about that. It brought me back to when Obama won, and I was just like, I can see representation. I can see myself. Like, you know, we live in this country, and we as Black and brown people always have lived with the notion that will never be equal in this country. And then to see Obama win, for people that don't look like him vote for him and say, we believe in you, and to see us on the largest stage in the world meant so much. And then now see her, and I can get emotional talking about it. I just know, like, my mother coming to this country with two young boys. I was 3. My brother just turned 1. She had nothing. We had one suitcase. We lived in a studio apartment. My mother now has a house and has allowed us to live this American dream. I, as a bisexual gay man, whatever you want to call me, can marry the person that I love, live the life that I live, and be on here and talk to the world and not live in fear of someone coming and seeking me out to try to kill me because of who I am. Mm. It's just amazing. And to know that we were on the verge of electing not even a Black woman, but just a woman to the highest power, not in just this country, but in the world, that's amazing to me. And I'm speechless. And then the other point before I let everyone else talk, I love the fact I was watching MSNBC this morning, and they were talking about how Joyce Reed mentioned how the room was filled with American flags, and that the Democratic Party is taking back that symbol, because the American flag honestly has become a sign of racism. When you see like giant flags on the back pickup trucks, all you're thinking of is, oh, is that person racist? You know, we're taking our American symbols back. We're taking back everything. And I just love that we've been using the terms, we're not going back, because God damn it, I'm not going back. This has been let out the closet, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going back.
Yes, Chris. Yes.
Good morning to the panel.
It was so powerful. It was bringing tears to my eyes when I was seeing it last night, and I was even just here, you know, when you see the replay, and the more replays I see, it gives me chills. And I said, man, this is happening. This is happening. And yet I am also aware that we all need to be working hard to make this happen. Using our platforms, using whatever abilities we have, whether you are talking to people in your break room, whether you are on the street corner talking, or you're with your family, your voice matters wherever the frequency, wherever the place, wherever the stage, wherever the platform you choose to use to raise your voice. And we're only going to get her across that finish line when we all in one chorus, one strong vocal chorus, singing the same song, freedom, and we're not going back.
Yeah.
Freedom, and we're not going back. Freedom to have your parents, for parents to give their books, whatever books they want to teach them or use in schools. Freedom to marry who you want to marry. Freedom to be who you want to be. Freedom to be in a country that is less violent, less ugly. Freedom. We deserve it. We deserve the freedom of living in a place that is not ugly. And Trump represents ugly. And that's what I loved about the themes this week. But last night they brought it home. We want better because we can do better.
Yes.
Elise, go for it, dear.
Well, good morning, everyone. I mean,
good morning.
What's to say? But I think that what's so important is what people are saying and what was said last night. It's up to us. She's gonna do her part, and Kamala's speech last night was amazing. It was strong. It showed her, you know, as we would say, standing 10 toes down on everything that she believes. They can't, you know, I know Lisa put a comment that she was praying that she didn't cry because they say something about that. I said, but you know, she also, what they can't say is that I bet you they can't talk about her laugh last night.
That's right.
They don't have that to say. And if you walked away and you were still asking the question, what are her policies or what does she stand for? Yeah. Then you just didn't listen, because she made that very clear. She was, you know, emboldened when she spoke about, Ukraine, and then she followed, because I was sitting on the bed. I said, now she has to say something about Gaza. And she went right into it, and she said what she had to say and needed to say. But at the same time, understanding that she also talked about, Palestine being the people being free and whole. And
yes.
And that's something that, people are going to differ on everything. And I've been listening to a lot of the things being said, and we can talk about that later. But people have to remember, what I want everyone to think about is, if you're standing out and saying, I'm not going to vote, I'm not going to do this, the very people that you want to help will not be helped by that. You're
That's
not
right.
helping them. And right now, our clear choice, and she made that very clear, and everyone made it clear. And I'm glad that for the last 2 nights, you had Republicans saying that they're voting for her.
That's right.
And making and people making it clear in the last couple of days that she needs the House and the Senate to accomplish everything. I think that so much was said and done, and it was amazing to have the people that were there and saying what they said in support of her and this platform, and pushing that forward. I think that was the beauty of it all, and sitting there and listening to her and listening to Chris. So Chris, I have a Chris.
Yes.
I finally met my Chris. I want him and his friends and all the other people that I love to be able to live and love who they want to love, and do that without fear. I want to feel that he's safe standing on a platform in New York or any place he goes in the world or in this country, to be free to be who he is and to love who he wants to love. I love, and I'm a fierce lioness when it comes to protecting my family and those that I love. My son is gay, and I'm proud of him, and I'm proud of his friends and all the amazing things that they're doing. And they need to feel free to do that. And under a Harris-Walz presidency, they'll be free to do that, and they'll get protections. And
Yes.
that's what she made clear. She's going to ensure that women's reproductive rights are protected. You are protected to love who you want to love. All those things are going to be protected under her. And I think that's what we have to focus on, that we want people, all people. It's not about us. It's not about me and mine. It's about all people feeling free, which is that theme that ran through everything, and hopeful. I am very hopeful, but I know that we have to be vigilant and do our job. It is our job to promote. It is our job. Yes, we want to, whatever we're doing in life, we want to put that on our platforms as well. But we also have to, if there's no place but your stories, put that up there. Encourage people.
Yes.
Encourage people at this point to say out loud, if you vote in blue, say it. People need to hear it. If they're going to say something about it, let them say it. But they need to hear where you stand. Take a stand.
Brian, what's going through your mind, sir?
Just
brace ourselves for Brian.
The emotion, like what Chris, I didn't, dude, I don't know if I'm going through menopause or what, but it watching it, I watched it again, like you guys, late night, because what I've been doing is right after they close, on the DNC's YouTube channel, they put them right back up, and I've been rewatching right after, and even though I watch live, I don't realize I miss stuff watching live. So I encourage people, sidebar, go back and rewatch. For me, I'll take a page from D.L. Hughley when he stood up there and his apology was just as loud. And not that I ever doubted her that way, but this brings back the conversation I had with a protester at the rally, at President Biden's rally here in Detroit, where I think I shared with you guys, there was a lot of protests against what's going on. The one that I engaged with was, she approached me respectfully. And I am proud to say that, my God, I hope that I am wrong, because I told this young lady, I said Hillary was a triply qualified white woman, and she won the popular vote, but the country didn't elect her. So you mean to tell me in the short amount of time, the same country is going to elect a more than qualified black woman? And she looked at me and was like, she saw my point, but she was younger and I saw her. And so here's where I am thankful that I am about to be wrong. Last night, I think of my mom, who's still here, but I think of my aunt who died a year ago around this time, and what they have fought for, and what the women around me, you guys on here, what you guys fight for. And I want people to hear me and how I took this. When I say what you fight for, I don't mean necessarily you're out there going rah, 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 but just existing. That to me is why I have been driving my therapist crazy, jacking up my sleep schedule, because in addition to staying late, I've been out here at least an hour every day knocking on damn doors. So on the one hand, I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but I want to be real and echo constantly what Elise, what we all have been saying, which, like, listen, enthusiasm, let's keep it rolling. In my opinion, that don't mean a hill of beans if she's not elected. Turn that enthusiasm into action. Each and every one of us has time, talent, or treasure. If you can't get out and knock on a door, damn it, each and every one of us has a phone. Call, you can phone bank, you can donate $1. Xavier donated $2 when I was on that video, a Win with Black Men for Kamala. We're living, this is what it's like to live through history. When we get her elected, many of us, we will have witnessed, we've had a front row seat, we've had first class seating to watching this country elect a black man, and in the same freaking generation.
Yes.
Man, I've got some notes, but I will share later. But that, and yes, we can do this. We can do this. Yeah, I'll mute my mic.
We get it, Brian.
We get it, B. What I love about Brian, I'll tease him because he takes time to do things. But I love about you, Brian, is that you really come from the heart. And I said, dog, he's gonna make me cry today. I'm trying to. He's got me.
We're all trying to keep it together.
I got tears on the side and everything. I said, that doggone Brian. But what I love is that what it says a lot about you, Brian, is that you are you think deep. You are a deep thinker, and I appreciate your words. I mean, each person that's on this panel brings something different to this panel, and you go deep, and you definitely dig into you, and you're not ashamed to be who you are, and you are not ashamed to shed those tears. Man, that is being manly, and I love it. That's what I love about you. I just had to throw that in there. So, Gwendolyn, what are you? Oops, I know they're doing some banging over there where you are.
Yeah, man, I wasn't sure if you guys could hear it. I was like, my mother's having work done. I'm like, should I move to maybe her room?
No, just talk. If you talk, it'll override.
I was like, oh my God, are they banging? Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. First of all, I shouldn't have to go after Brian. Like, seriously? Like, I mean, there's nothing I can say. But real talk though, two things. One, I know our society makes it seem as if being human, which is expressing your emotion, is a negative. It is not. So you will find me crying and saying all kinds of things because I am human. So if it's coming, let them bitches out. That's how that works. But I know I was talking to Ron this morning about representation, and I remember as a little girl watching the beauty pageant, hoping to see a Black chick somewhere in the mix. And jumping on the phone, be like, "There's a Black chick. There's a Black woman for Arizona. There's a Black," right? Because it was so unnatural to see ourselves on TV and to see us anywhere, and then to be voted as that. So when I was watching yesterday, I was like, man, you know, like there are going to be kids who only know this as history. They don't know anything else but access and, if you will, inclusion and the diversity and just being yourself. So I'm gonna keep mine short because Mr. Leeson said it, Kristen said it, like Brian just said it, but warms my heart. There were tears in my eyes last night. I was hooting and hollering down in the office because Mr. Jack was trying to sleep. But I was like, let him sleep because I'm going to come in here and, but it was just like all of it. Like her speech was beautiful. And there were, as I told you, Ron, there were just moments where I thought, man, the carnage that Donald Trump has created, we can talk about that. I'm also going to find a different place. I got to move. So I'm going to mute my mic and move.
Well, that's one of the most amazing things is that the contract, I still can't see how anyone is saying, that they can't decide. This is, it's like looking at, Star Wars. It's evil against good. It's dark against light. It's noise against quiet. The contrast could not be more extreme. It doesn't get more extreme than a Donald Trump and a Kamala Harris. And for someone to say, I really don't know who I can vote for.
Or the fact that you're voting for that man. Like,
right. Sometimes
he rage tweeted last night. He watched because
he did watch. Yes, he did.
When I got home, my family thread had all of the comments that he was making. I'm just like, this man does not know what to do with himself. He is shitting bricks right now because he knows the trouble that he is in. What I've loved about this whole entire convention is that they have finally called him out on his bullshit. All of it. It's not that he's telling half truths. He is a lie. He's fear mongering. He's becoming a dictator. Not in practice, but in actuality. Like, they're calling him out. They're saying all the things that I've been wanting them to say for so long. And I blame the media for allowing people to say, oh, he's telling half truths or alternative facts. No, he's lying. He is lying to you. And they called him out on it at every turn. No one walked away and let him get away with anything. They completely called out. It's like they ripped the clothes off. The emperor has no clothes.
Exactly.
Yes.
They basically they don't have a choice, right? They don't have a choice but to start saying things. And I think one of the things that also helped, you all know, I've been saying from the very beginning that media was complicit in all of this because of the way they handle all of these things. Yeah. But one of the things now, especially for media, you got, these Republicans are coming out and saying we support her because we want our country back. We want our country to snatch our country back from these extremists. And they, even the one from Arizona was like, oh yeah, we need to vote for Democrats on ticket, period. Which was I was waiting to hear one of them say that, because it is about up and down. If you want this country to go to be, you want to help this country move forward, you have got to eradicate them wherever they are.
Yes.
And I know I told y'all about Proverbs 37.
Listen,
I'm still living with that.
When I love the fact that these Republicans are coming out now and saying something, but let me tell you something. Let them come out and vote Democrat-elect Kamala Harris, but do not forget that they supported this man and they uplifted this man to be in that position. After they come into the fold and help us elect her, hold their asses accountable.
Oh, absolutely. And I think you have to remember, and I will tell you that quiet side, you have to make sure that we come out in record numbers so that we take the House and we take the Senate, because they're saying they voted for her. Not all of them are saying they're voting for everything. And we have to make sure, don't sit back and be comfortable thinking that they're going to help us get blue all the way. We don't be comfortable with that. We cannot sit back now and be complacent. We cannot sit back and be comfortable. We need to be emotional, and we need to be out there. We need to be as passionate about this as we possibly can, and understand that the only way a president, and anyone in here who's complained about what presidents haven't done in the past that you help elect, well, did you come back and make sure they kept the House and the Senate? Because you didn't do it for Biden. You didn't do it for Obama.
That's right.
So let's meditate and let's marinate on that, because it's up to you. They can only do what you want them to do if you give them the tools to do it. It's just like education. I cannot ask my kids to do anything or pass my test if I didn't give them the tools they needed to pass that test. So if they fail, I fail. So if they fail, you fail. We fail to get out there. We got to get out there. We got to give them the tools they need. And they're going to need these tools for the next 4-8 years. Whatever it is, you need to be out there voting every time with the same passion and zeal you have now, because they're going to need that House. They're going to need that Senate, and they're going to need it every time. And every time, everybody that complains about Barack Obama, and y'all, this is the thing where I'm really passionate about. You complain about Biden, you complain about Harris, you complain, and you didn't give them what they needed. Biden had it the first 2 years. In 2022, you didn't show up.
That's right.
You got to show up every time.
Yeah,
every time. Because I mean, think about it. Obama could have had a Supreme Court justice
or two.
Stole it.
Well, they stole it because they were allowed to by the people. Right. Because if they didn't have the majority in the Senate, they couldn't stop them.
Because you didn't show up for the midterm.
You bring home of these.
McConnell blocked something for an entire year. I want people to understand that bills aren't being passed now because you didn't show up in what year is it? 2022. You didn't show up. So they got the crazy people. We got the inmates, the insane asylum inmates running the House.
That's right. And guess what? If just by 4 seats, that's all it was a demo for the House. And if people would have showed up, we would have had the border bill passed.
Yes.
We would have had immigration passed, and we would have got a lot more done. You think about all that Biden was able to do in the first 2 years. And that's because he had what? A Democratic House and a Democratic Senate.
Right.
You got to have Democrats on all up and down to accomplish what you need and what you want. Long gone is the idea of Chris might press something. He'll be back. But long gone are the days of, you know what? I'm going to vote Republican at the top of the ticket, but I'm going to vote opposite on the bottom of the ticket. I don't even know who came up with that philosophy. I mean, I used to do it too. I remember when I was like, okay, I'm going to vote for this person, and then I'm going to counterbalance them by putting other. But that doesn't work. That means nothing just gets done.
Yeah, gridlock.
Right. And I see Anthony talked about Texas. You know, with Texas, show up. It's time for Ted Cruz to go.
Sorry about that.
Texas needs to show up. And I know when the woman spoke from Uvalde last night, that's always a sensitive issue for me, right? because Uvalde happened. And if you look at the voting that for Abbott back then, because he was reelected after that.
Yes, they reelected.
There's no way that man should have been reelected after that. And some of those people voted for that. And I say, you have got to, if you're going to talk about it, you got to be about it. That has to be your walk, has to be how you live. You have to do it all. And states like Texas need to show up and show out. They need to come on out there. They need to make Texas whatever. And that, they're trying to put those rules in Texas where how you win. They're trying to change the rules in the game because they feel like they're going to lose something. So you have to be very conscious of Texas. You have to be very conscious in Georgia. But the bottom line is you have to show up. We cannot continue to blame someone for what they're not doing when we don't give them the tools to do it. I can't ask a writer to write if I don't give them a pen, a typewriter, or something. I have to give them something to write with. And they're not going to be able to do it if we don't give them. And we are responsible for this. We have to hold ourselves accountable.
We have to make sure we show up every year, every time, up and down the ballot. And again, all elections begin locally. We have to vote in every local election, for the sheriff, for the DA, for the councilwoman, for the PTA president. You got to be there to vote. I mean, that's how policy is made. That's how policy is created.
Right. And for the officers that came the last 2 nights, they're getting grief because a lot of these police organizations that are calling your house asking, and they have these packs where they tell you it's not tax deductible. My first question is, who are you giving my money to? Because I want to know, because I said, if you're giving it to the Republicans, you can't have my money.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't tell you. You can't tell me I can't give you money. So, I mean, we have to challenge all these systems, but that took courage just as much as it did Steve Kerr to come out the other night. It takes courage for all of these people to come out. And we have to think about the things that if people had shown up in 2022, Roe v. Wade could have been codified.
Yeah.
That's right.
The Voting Rights Act would have been out there.
That's right.
All these things that we say we want and they didn't give.
Police reform could have been passed.
They've learned their lesson now. Listen, moving forward, we can't be like, no, y'all need to ratify this. Y'all need to put this as an amendment. No more, executive actions. That does not work. We know that the moment someone else comes into office, it is wiped away.
Absolutely. We got to codify.
I'm going to go through some of the quotes of Kamala from last night. And when we can definitely you're back, B.
All right.
I think there you go. We hear you.
Hey, yeah. I don't know, when Chris came back on, I couldn't hear anything, and so. But
that's okay. It was just it was a little malfunction there.
Okay.
In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man, but the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious. Woo! Yeah. These are some of the liners and some of the that I was pulling away to share with you guys.
Say with that one right there?
Yeah, buddy.
Anytime I've heard a black woman tell me that, it's like I was sliced with a samurai sword and didn't realize that my body was sliding apart.
You saw your body go like this, like mush, like in separate pieces and into a pile of flesh. And obviously, we know what she says. We are not going back. And here was another beautiful one. In the enduring struggle between democracy and tyranny, I know where I stand. And I know where the United States belongs.
Yes.
That was a really powerful moment. Another one, she says, chaos and calamity when he was in office. And we know, I mean, people have short memories in this country.
The collective amnesia that
4 years ago this time, we were all on lockdown.
We didn't even know we were all going to die or not.
We didn't know if there was going to be a world after. It was like
bleed into your body.
We were
disinfected.
I mean, we had the economy was stunted. Stock market had dropped like 20% 20%, 30%. I mean, it was bad. It was 4 years ago when Reagan, I think it was Reagan, asked you the question, are you better off 4 years ago than you were today?
Yeah, well, that's a Reagan.
Yeah.
Americans need to just stop. And I'm so tired of these fools that keep saying, I made more money under Biden. I mean, under Trump. I made more money under Trump. I got my $1,200 check. They keep forgetting two things. One is you weren't doing better now. Economically, the country was doing better under Biden than it was Trump. Economically, stats. Now, what you do personally and how you make decisions with your own personal finances, that will determine, are you doing better in those years or versus these years? Because some of those are personal choices. If you went out and bought a BMW and now you got hardcore payments and you can't afford it, oh hell, you're not doing better than you were. So it's all about your personal choices. Number two,
Trump took that $1,200 and bought a Beamer and forgot you had monthly payments.
Yeah, I forgot you had. You're like, hey, yeah, I'm living good, and next thing you know, now you got big bills.
But Ron, since you brought it up, can we address that $1,200?
Okay, I'm going right there. The $1,200 crazies out there. I love me some Trump.
That you only got the $1,200 not because of him, but because of Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats.
Yes,
they did that. Trump didn't do it. Kamala Harris was there in the Senate.
Because he put his signature on it. That's all.
Why they said because he held your check up to put his signature on it because he didn't want you to get it.
He didn't want you to get it.
He held it up so he could put his signature on it to say he did it. It's just like the Republicans now claiming all this responsibility for the infrastructure and they all voted against it. That's what happened to the stimulus check. And then everybody forgets that when Biden came in, you got more.
You got more. Thank you, Elise. I was going there, but you would thank you, Elise.
That's the media. That's the media. That's the mainstream media that has allowed the fallacy to continue.
Yes. That is the truth. I said this. Biden gave people more. He gave more. It totaled up to $2,000 when you put the two pieces together.
Can I add? Not to mention the things that this current Biden-Harris administration have implemented that we may not see. Well, most of us may not see the positive impacts from right now because government, some things take
laggers. They're laggers, and
the huge win with insulin, the huge win with a lot of the medications that are going to be capped. The insulin, my dad's feeling that immediately at $35 a month. This latest round of these medications that are going to be significantly lower, it doesn't start until 2026.
Yes. Yeah.
But when it does, it's going to impact in a positive manner. And then more broadly, he wants to have that across all Americans. Right now, it's for certain certain age range of our older Americans, but all those Americans. That insulin or diabetes, I don't take insulin, but dude, I can't afford my own freaking pills right now, which I'm like, and I don't qualify. I'm not old enough. My point is that a lot of the things that are beneficial, and the next time I hear somebody say that this asinine crap of, well, what has Kamala done for the Black community? Like, dude,
just go to the website. They can just go to the website and figure out that for instance, I did not, this is somewhat the failure of most of the Democrats in so many ways, is that they don't promote what they've done. Yes. I mean, when you think about all that they've done, and I did not know that Kamala Harris was behind the Juneteenth holiday. Did y'all know that?
Yeah, I did.
Kamala Harris was the one that pushed Biden to sign off and to sign off on the Juneteenth holiday.
Yeah.
I
But
mean,
here's
there's
the-
so
you
many
shouldn't-
things that she's
you
been
shouldn't know
responsible
that.
for by being
You
by
won't-
his side.
You won't know that because here's the thing: the role of the vice president is to support
That's right.
the president and to be quiet.
Yes, support and be quiet.
Last night, she stepped out and said, "Now I want to be commander in chief, and you're going to hear my voice." Before that, she plays it in the background. That's what people are. They're missing the point on that.
Right.
It's not the president and vice president. It's the president.
Right.
There you go.
Can
And
I
I
add to your
Ryan.
point? You remind me. I don't know why this stuck. Bill Clinton, not this week, when he was running for re-election in '96, something he said back then has stuck with me throughout the years. People will gravitate more towards loud and wrong than soft and right.
Yes, right.
Right.
It's
So
so true. Here's
And that's
another quote. The freedom to live safe from gun violence in our schools, communities, and places of worship. The freedom to love who you love openly. And with pride, the freedom of breathing clean air, drink clean water, and live free from the pollution that fuels the climate crisis, and the freedom that unlocks all the others, the freedom to vote. And there's only one party trying to stop people from voting. And you have to say, why do they work so hard to try to stop you from voting?
Yeah.
I mean,
it matters.
they are constantly all the time trying to stop people from voting.
They work hard at it, Ryan. That's
They work hard.
Like the thing that I posted about Georgia, and many people have posted about Georgia, and how anybody can go in there and take you off the roads in Georgia. People need to be real clear about that. That's not just you going in. Who is voluntarily going to take their names off a voting roll? No one. So you have to think about that part and how, like I said, have to keep bringing up Texas and how they want to try to rig it. So you have to get the majority of these things to be able to have. No, why can't my vote just be my vote?
Yes.
Why can't the majority of people voting for an individual mean that person wins? Because they know that the larger areas are blue, and those smaller areas, which are a lot of them, are red. So that's how they're manipulating it. And our freedom is our right to vote. And I remind people, he has said out of his own mouth that, you vote for me, you won't have to worry about voting anymore. Come on now, that's the language of dictators.
There you go.
Can I add on to that, Ron? Can I add on to that? I know you and I were talking earlier about this next gen of young voters who have always had access. They have always seen a life where there were interracial couples and people lived the way that they want to live, and they understand it. They don't understand not having the right to vote, having the right to dress how you want to dress. They are now feeling the impact of, what do you mean I can't make decisions for my own body? They don't know a life other than that. So like my niece, 18, he's like, I don't think I'm going to vote. I'm like, baby girl, do you understand why you should? And do you know what life is like without what you currently have today? I know we bitched about going to school, but imagine a generation of kids who won't have the Department of Education. And yes, the state is to decide who gets that money. And HISD is already feeling the impact. The brown and black kids in this district are feeling the impact from, I'm not going to go there. They're already feeling it. Again, Texas we're a testing ground. Texas is a testing ground. So is
Texas
Florida,
and Florida.
so is Oklahoma. They are already testing. That school voucher, it doesn't help us. It helps those who are already paying for private school get a refund, because all they'll do is they'll jack the price of that private school.
Yes.
And how do you figure out how to pay for it? You're banning books. This is how you start creating two different classes.
Absolutely. Because you know what they have at private schools? They have books.
Yes.
It may not be the history.
They have libraries.
You have textbooks, and a lot of urban public schools now is everything's online, but it's insufficient. It happens in DC, and that's the part that we have to fight against. They need to have the information, And they are going to be different. And that's why, even with the whole possibility of the draft, not if you go to private school, you won't have to do this. It's a public schools. And so you have to understand, I fought against vouchers coming to DC for 3 straight years. They never got them in DC as long as I testified against them. And what I said when I testified before the Senate, I testified at both the House and the Senate. When I testified in front of the Senate, what I said is, so you want to use our children as laboratory rats. And they like, oh, what did she say? Absolutely. I know it wasn't in my written testimony that I submitted to you, but this is my testimony that's going to be on the record. And what you found was they would bring Black parents, especially because they brought them from Cleveland. They bring them from the country, and it would be all Black people on the panel. Of course, I was always the only one that was against them, right? So I knew Cleveland. I said, so Black students receive less than 1/4 of the vouchers. I want to know where the mother is that represents the ones that have the majority of the vouchers. And at that time, they had these schools called Hope. And I said, and I understand that a lot of the private schools in Cleveland receiving these vouchers are run by the friend of the governor of the state of Ohio. And I said this, and that the majority of those students are not Black. So we need to be real clear when what they do. They're not trying to, you weren't going to go to Georgetown Day. That was like Clinton sends his child to a private school. I said, so you're going to give me a voucher worth $20,000?
That's right.
You're not. So you give me $7,000. How I'm going to come up with the 13?
There you go. There you go. And usually when they're giving you a voucher for $20,000, it means the education costs $30,000.
But they're never going to give you that much. That's exactly the point. But we have to be real careful about what's happening and what they want to take from you. And then if people, and I listen, I saw Lisa write about the Black man, but I listen to some of the people when they interview them on why they don't want to vote for Kamala, especially the men, and never is there a coherent, intelligent answer.
I go watch the segment, CNN, they did the segment, the brother, I forgot the brother's name, young brother, he is interviewing the Black men for the other guy, and it makes
you steam. It makes you want to throw something at the TV. You're like, what the? I mean, like this one guy, this Black guy said, he's just like us. He's just like us. And I'm sitting here like,
Negro, please. You have no idea.
I was like us? What are you talking about? This guy, and it's like Roland says all the time. He says, you try to commit a crime and walk out and live on the street and live free. You try as a Black man to do something wrong, and the courts go after you, and you can just
won't get to the courts, my friend.
You would
He ain't like you. He ain't gonna never be like you.
So may I add something real quick? I say it often. I appreciate Archie Bunker, and I appreciate George Jefferson. I knew exactly where they stood. There was no mistaking that they were bigots and everything else. So these men and the women, if you don't like her, she's a woman, say that. If you don't like her because she's Black, say that. But own your foolishness. It's perfectly fine. Like, people have every right to believe what they want to believe. But if you're a misogynist, you're sexist, and all the isms, all the phobias, own that versus trying to hide behind it with religion or being politically correct. Just come out and say it. I'm okay with that. Just go ahead and say it.
But that's why I love Trump. And this is the only time you're going to hear me say that. This is why I love Trump, because he's allowed people or given people the right to come out and be authentically who they are. So now I know, you a racist ass? Thank you. I just stepped right aside.
Oh, yeah.
Here's my question. My question. So I've seen a lot of people in media, Black people, who said they're voting for him. Yeah. How many Black men have they shown saying they're voting for Kamala?
Exactly. They don't do it.
Where is that?
There's a lot of them.
Because there are thousands of them, millions of them. Where are they? Where are they interviewing you all? Where are they interviewing the Black men for Kamala? They're not. Because why? Because that's what their whole program is about. And I will remind you, media is run by billionaire white men who want to keep their billions. But I have yet to see the panel of I'm voting for Kamala Harris, and this is why. Black men. And I think we need to see that somewhere. We need to see it
they
on
did
Roland Martin.
Roland Martin and MSNBC, which I think it was Tremaine. Tremaine, he did a panel discussion. You can look it up on just Google it. He did went to his small towns little conversations, and he brought black men together. And the majority, maybe it was one or two that was voting for Trump or didn't know. One was voting for Trump, one did not know. But every man in the room was voting for Kamala, and they were sharing why. And so again, like you just said, Elise, again, the emphasis is always on the negative. The media is always going to give you the negative. They never are going to give you the mainstream. Let me say the mainstream media. Let me just quantify it. They are always looking at the main, what's going to rile up people.
Absolutely.
And cause crazy discussion like, oh wow, all these black men are voting for Trump. Well, there are a whole lot more voting for Kamala.
But Ron, I'm gonna be that side that wants to be in people's ears, right? So it's not simply sensationalism.
Yes.
It's also that when you look at most of these mainstream media companies, all of them within the last at least 4 years have hired Trump supporters.
Yes.
All of them are run by billionaires who want to keep their money. It's bigger than just having the sexy sensationalism.
This is true.
It's also self-preservation for what they want to happen. Their tax breaks run out next year.
That's right.
I want us to be real clear and not let them off the hook and say, oh, it's not just that simple. Everything is more complex and deeper than we ever think. We have to think to that deep end. We have to think, as they say, you have to get up off early in the morning and think like the devil. I think I get up before the devil. So I can outthink him, because that's what we have to do. We can't think like him. We got to outthink him. And I think that's what we run on, because even when you describe the panel that they had, how often are the ones that they have with the men who support Trump, the men voting, black men for Trump, do they also have that balance of men in there who say I'm voting for Kamala? That's not the balance. We need to forget the balance. I want just the black men who voted for her to be out there and be bold enough to say why they're voting for her and not voting for him, because that's what we need to hear. We don't need to hear both sides of the story. We need to hear the most important side of the story. Why are they voting for Kamala? And that's what needs to be heard, than to put in the distractions. That's how things work. You put in a distraction. It's always that way.
I like what the Girls Club Inc. says. It was so important for the Exonerated Five to speak at last night to illustrate how Donald Trump really feels about black men. And look, how many examples do we need to share about how Trump feels about people of color, especially black people? I mean, we all know the evidence. The evidence is 50 years long.
Yes.
50 years long. This man has been, he and his father have done nothing good for black people.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's also generational. The fact that he got that from his father.
Multi-generational hate.
It's multi-generational. That father got it from his father, got it from their father, everything.
And he sent it to his sons too.
Yes, right.
Absolutely. And his sons are talking the same way. And
just
I think that with that was probably hearing Corey speak from the Exonerated Five was just so touching, knowing his story. You know, he's the one that was incarcerated the longest.
Yes.
And his story is so touching. And actually, the guy who ended up confessing, I believe, had an interaction with him.
Yes.
In prison. Mm-hmm. That resulted in the confession that I did it. So, but he was in there for 13 years.
13
as a child.
years.
As a teenager.
And he was the youngest, right? He was the youngest of them, right?
I don't know if he
and he wasn't the youngest, but he went to an adult prison and they went to like juvie.
Oh, okay. That's what it was.
He got it the worst. But it's like I tell you, it's like this is physical carnage of Trump. 5 random kids stole their childhood, and even to this day, being a convicted felon, he has not apologized and still believes
that they're guilty.
That they are guilty.
So his statement after they were exonerated was they should have stayed in because they probably would have done something.
He's evil.
Or
I'm
someone
telling you,
somewhere
I don't call
he's
too
on
many people
crime.
evil.
He's evil. He's racist. We gotta
He's
call
all
a
of
thing a thing.
He is the
Yeah.
devil incarnate. Let's just call it what it is. All right. The devil walking on this earth.
I
We
see
have to
here
call a
that
thing a thing. We can no longer pretend that something that
No.
is well, he's not just like that. That's evil. We have to call evil evil. We cannot
Yes.
believe in positive and God and not understand evil.
You
yes.
can kill evil, and obviously you can heal wounded air very fast.
And if I could add one
Omar
of the
said he had no
aspects
personal experience.
that
Look at that. Omar says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead."
Oh, sorry. I'm getting my emotions and thoughts in balance here, because I can see how, as we hear, the average American, the average voter can get disconnected, or even quite some of our fellow brothers and sisters out there can be like, oh, because there's so much. But all of these things are happening or true at the same time. Orange, convicted felon, racist, blah, 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 blah. How that translates, he's a threat, yes. Gosh, I can't, like, our democracy, Supreme Court, judge and people, and how does this relate back to the person on the street? That's where I don't know, I'm hearing, and I totally agree, but this just brought to mind last night as I was texting my sister. She was tapped out, and I was like, whoa. She was like, I mean, she watched, but it was on mute. And she was like, this is day 4. And she's like, I know who I'm voting for. I know my purpose, but she was like, I'm done. I can't stand any more of that guy. And so she was like texting me like, why are you blah, blah, blah. And I hear all of us, and what's coming to mind to me is thinking about how to make that plain.
Right.
All of this that is factual, certifiable, historical, it's facts what he did to the exonerated 5. It's facts what he and his father did to black renters in the 70s. These are facts. It's facts that he squashed the border deal, which to me, that's baffling that at that time, he wasn't, he's a citizen. He's a fellow citizen. So whether or not he was a former president, but you mean to tell me any one of us here, we're all citizens? That's like any one of us calling all of these representatives and verbally pressuring them to not go through with a bill or something. That influence. So I bring all this to a head is like, okay, how do we make it plain? How do we make it plain to the person on the street? When you guys were sharing this, how is this a threat to Jane Doe, John Doe, the decisions that are made? Because they may not feel it right now, like the whole misperception or the wrongness of the stimulus check that he gave. No, he didn't. How do you make it plain? Like, okay, if you don't vote, we've been telling people about the Supreme Court and how that was one of those seats was stolen. Well, what about all the I think it was over 140 federal judges that Obama was blocked from Mitch McConnell?
Right.
The odds are many of our people, I would assume, have interactions or may be impacted more immediately from some of the decisions federal judges make. So, like, sorry, I'm just hearing, I'm like, okay, how do we bring all of this, address, like, all of these things are happening and all of these things simultaneously are true, factual, and then we can differentiate with opinion.
Right.
But how do we connect this to continue to get people to vote and not tap out like my own?
Well, one way definitely is to simply speak facts. Like Elise always says, tell people the facts, and there's no reason, there's no way to get around the facts.
But
when people hear the facts, then they either going to say, I believe it, and these are the facts, or they're going to walk away from the facts. There are people that don't like truth. There are some people that don't like truth.
Right.
If I can add to that, like you can people who have lived in New York City know about Trump. We know exactly who he is. We know about his dad and everything. If you have gone through the last 4 years with him, it is a choice. These are choices that people decide to make. Like I watched that one from Mother Jones with the Black Republicans.
Yes.
The preacher who was like, I feel like I'm a gay guy in the 70s coming out the closet. No, you don't. No, you don't. These are choices. You cannot tell me.
That was crazy.
It ain't even close to being the same thing. These are choices. Now, we said it. All kin folk ain't skin folk. All right? Skin folk and kin folk.
All skin folk ain't kin folk.
All skin folk ain't kin folk.
Thank you.
Right.
You get it. At the end of the day, people have choices. You can choose to see everything happening in front of you, but tell yourself, well, it wouldn't happen to me. Again, we've seen it with slavery. You got your house Negroes, you got your field Negroes, and they just knew that if I just stay close to massa, it's going to be all right. And that didn't work out. That's not how it worked out. It's choice.
And you also had the field ones that was trying to get in the house. So they were telling on you. Because we can't forget you getting attacked from every angle. And I think we just have to. One of the things when Brian said with his sister, when you said she tapped out, I said that's what we don't want. We don't want. Yes, I know who I'm voting for. Yes, I'm gonna vote for Kamala. Okay, I'm doing it. But we can't be so complacent. We can't get so comfortable to think that we don't have to encourage other people. We have to keep doing it because we have to encourage other people. Because as Oprah said, there's still some people thinking about this. There's still some people for whatever reason out there. And then a part of the people who have said, oh, this is what I'm going to do. There are things that shame and embarrassment also plays a role in you sticking with something that you know isn't right. Because I got to follow through. I say it publicly and I vote different. That's what you're hoping. But that's a part of it. And you don't want to, like, if you see some of these people see themselves played back, they should feel something. You should feel like, man, was I stupid when I said that? But I want to go back to something real quick about when you talked about the border bill.
Yes.
There's also the rumor that he's in contact with Netanyahu, and we know for a fact that after Netanyahu met with the Congress, he went straight to Mar-a-Lago.
Yes.
So they are in communication. So that's not too far fetched that he would be trying to convince him, just like he did the people in Congress, not to vote for something that they basically crafted.
Yes.
So let's be real conscious about that and understand that the devil is still working.
My thinking is, I said, as soon as he got finished with the Senate, he ran straight to Mar-a-Lago.
Absolutely.
And I don't put it past Netanyahu to keep this war conflict going on, to try to weaken Kamala. That is the whole point. Again, these people are in cahoots. And again, I will say it over and again to all the folks that I be talking to all the time, the Palestinian conflict, the Palestinian issue will not be addressed properly if you get Trump in office. For as a matter of fact, there will be no hope for the Palestinians. There will be no hope whatsoever. They will clear them off that land and make beachfront property and do what they want to do. Netanyahu is not your friend. He is not the friend of the United States. He is not the friend of peace. He is not the friend of anything just. Israelis do not like Netanyahu. They come out by the thousands to say they do not. Remember, before this conflict, he was losing his position.
Right.
And many said he went out at this scale so that way he wouldn't go to jail. These are two criminals. Netanyahu is a criminal. Trump is a criminal. These people are trying to stay out of jail.
Right. And to stay in power. And he
to stay
has
in
already
power.
he's going to tell him exactly what he said to Putin. He go in there and do whatever you want to do. That's what he's going to give. He's going to give them that signal. Go in there and do whatever you want to do. There will be no conversation about innocent Palestinians. There won't be. And anyone that's thinking that way, well, he's already stated his position. He's already stated that. If you want to help the people for real, vote blue up and down that ticket, put the House and Senate in there, and then start testifying. Then start doing some work. It takes work to get what you want.
Let's do the work.
But you only get leverage, and Jazzy and I talk about this all the time. They have no reason to listen to you if you don't help them get into a position where they can listen to you.
Right.
Why would I listen to you when you tell me, oh, I didn't vote for you, or I didn't vote at all? I'm not listening to a non-voter. I don't want to hear that. Even as a citizen, I don't want to hear you tell me you didn't vote.
Don't say that. Don't say it.
Anyway, guys, we have come to a close. We are 17 minutes over, but that's okay.
It's all
this
right.
Conversation was worth it.
Good.
It was all good. We had a great time. And Chris, since you are the man, you get the last word today.
Well, listen, I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you to everyone on the screen right now. This has been such an empowering, enlightening, and momentous moment in our lifetimes. You know, we are blessed to see, we're on the forefront of potentially seeing another African-American, the first Asian and Indian person being elected to the highest office in this country. And I'm so glad I'm able to spend this time to have these conversations with you. So thank you guys so much for that. And with that, I'm done.
Ron, you gonna address that?
You can address it, Lee. So you almost had the last word, Chris.
Apparently we got a bot up in here, but understand that we're not even gonna go to BlackRock.
Yes,
we're not going there. We're not going to put rhetoric out here. We deal with facts in this space.
There you go.
Simple and pure facts. And we know what is being done in this country, what has been done. We know Kamala Harris's record from when she was a DA to a senator, now to a vice president. We know what she's done. And I'm sure that when you want to come in and say things on platforms to try to rile people up, that doesn't work here. We are focused. We are focused. We're going to do something. We're going to make sure we're going to do all that we can do to get Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in office as president and vice president. We understand that you may find some rhetoric out there because it's all out there. But what we're going to do is stick with facts in here.
Thank you, Elise. I knew you would address it much better than me. I could have. So, guys, thank you for tuning in today. Again, if you are here for the first time, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. We are on YouTube and under Ron Lewis Photos, or you can just simply put in Touch Base Daily in any Google search, and we will pop up. Just put Touch Base Daily, we will pop up. And also, just get out there and do your thing. Do your thing for democracy. That's what we're talking about. It is all about democracy. And I love this community. I love that everyone's gathered together to share. Sometimes we get some people that go rogue, but that's okay. That's okay. They know who we are. We are here. We are here to support democracy. We got Republicans in the room, ex-Republicans, I should say. We got Democrats in the room. We got independents in the room. We got people of Black, white, Asian in the room. We got it going on in this community. We ain't thinking about folks that have negativity. So anyway, all those negative folks.
Most importantly, we have people in the room who are fighting for. It's not as they say. This is not about a party. This is not about a Black woman. This is not about anything. This is about freedom, democracy, and our rights to do and live the life that we should be able to live the way we want to live it, and our citizenship, our right to vote. This is what that's about.
Amen to that. So anyway, guys, we'll be back again on Monday, back to our regular format. Mondays on Motivation Monday. I am heading to a wedding tomorrow, so I'm on the road again. I'm on a road tomorrow. I have my cousin's getting married, and I'm so excited about that. And so I'll be supporting her in her wedding vows. And and do some traveling for that, and then get back home. I'm trying to get there in the morning and come back home by night. But I did put my hotel on reservation in case I had to stay over. But yeah, so guys, thank you again. Wait, before we go, Gwendolyn, where can people find you?
Black Power Bunny.
No, sorry.
I know, right? Hey, don't be judging me. I'm on the road too. Black Power Bunny on Instagram and GR Houston Jack on YouTube.
Brian, where can people find you?
Brian Young Creative on Instagram and any other social media sites. And I got to shout out the world's photographers.
That's awesome photo.
Yeah, isn't that a great shot? Oh,
I rarely change screens. My screensaver is usually
that's a beautiful photo.
But
that is everything. That's a t-shirt. That's everything. Elise, where can people find you?
At SALIEZE _ on Instagram.
And also, Chris, where can people find you?
On all my socials, it's constantly _ changing the number for me.
And you all know where to find me. Right here, Ron Lewis Photos on YouTube or Instagram or any platform is Ron Lewis Photos. And here on this platform in YouTube is Touch Base Daily. And check us out. And again, like, subscribe, and that would be great for us as we continue to build our community and build the audience and build our online presence. Thank you, guys, and we thank you, Holly Vernon, for being here and sharing your thoughts. We definitely acknowledge that you are an ex-Democrat or whatever the case may be, but we do welcome you, and we do welcome your thoughts. And however, we also want to make sure that we keep this as a positive space because that's how we started this community, and that's how we will continue to keep it. Okay, so it's good to express your thoughts, but do not confront. Do not be adversarial. Okay, I'm out. I'm not going to go any further. Let's go. We're out. Have a great weekend, y'all. It's going to be a great day.